everything you have in baggage from your entire life. But this exponential compression of trauma during COVID like released or opened these creative latches that I had closed. My background is actually in music and as a creative interpreter and composer, but I sort of sealed away my creativity a little bit because I began my journey in New York City in 2018 as a fully production sound mixer, so just technical post-production and on location. So I think that pause, those lockdowns allowed me to sort of like, I started tinkering with music again, had this like analog synth around the house. I started making a few music pieces again. I started shooting a lot in the street just because there was this like compulsion and something was just telling me like, shoot.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked the results I was getting. I think I felt like you have talent, you have an eye, or like, hey, what you're getting is sort of like nice. It spoke to me, but I never even knew about street photography or about photography in general. It was really just this sort of like self-discovery. And I think about it sort of like when you're writing music, it's a process that kind of stays in your head a lot. So you might write notes down, you might create notes, but ultimately this piece is living in your head, and there's no way to really show it to people except through a piece of music.
Right.
But that's more complicated to get people to understand who you are as a person through notes, through sound. It takes a lot more skillful, trained ear and people in general to recognize complexity in music and patterns. Whereas visual is a lot easier to digest within, if you compare it to music. These processes that I was doing in my mind with music, all of a sudden I realized like, hey, like I'm creating a visual footprint of what I'm experiencing internally, but it's in a visual medium. Whatever I'm feeling from those moments that I was capturing, they were coming out in the photographs. But I still wasn't thinking about it that way. It's just that's what was happening. I just discovered a new medium for expression that I had never found before. And of course, I already knew how to use a camera, but it's just like I had never had the emotion or the intention or this sort of like affair, obsessiveness, compulsion to shoot that way. And I think that was enabled because of the lockdowns and the pause that just sort of also let us be free a little bit.
It's an interesting take. It's like the conundrum of being locked down
right,
and having like this sense of freedom creatively. That's an interesting duality.